I think it's pretty safe to say that Instacart isn't necessarily known for having great customer service. And in my opinion, that's going to be the #1 way that you can increase your earnings as an Instacart shopper. So obviously you want to keep your rating up. If your rating is good, then you're going to get access to those higher earning batches. Also, tips. I mean, you should be receiving better tips if you're providing good service. That's just how it works. So I feel like, I'm sure there are probably some videos on my channel even that aren't necessarily implementing the best practices. So I really wanted to talk about this, talk about how I communicate with my customer, and then also probably give you kind of like a walkthrough of a batch and mainly focus on customer communication, just so you can kind of see how I handle refunds or replacements, or even just talking in general, or not talking if they aren't communicating with me. Because obviously the decisions you make, whether or not they're responsive or not responsive, are going to be a little bit different as far as refunds and replacements go. So I've just seen a lot of examples of people not giving great customer service. It's mainly, I'm hearing it from the customer's perspective, whether that be family members of mine, or also people in my Instacart Facebook group that are Instacart shoppers, but they also use the service as a customer. And yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's crazy to me how bad shoppers can actually be, to the point where sometimes there's no communication at all. And in my opinion, that's completely unacceptable. So I specifically have a relative that heavily relies on Instacart, and she says most shoppers are not reaching out to her with an initial message. This relative of mine has food allergies, so she definitely needs to make sure that she communicates that, and that they also aren't making replacements with items that she's allergic to, which has happened. That's crazy to me. I can't even believe that. She also sends an initial message. So her initial message that she sends out says, "Hi, thank you for shopping with us. If you have any questions, just let me know and I'll respond quickly. We usually prefer to get a substitution than nothing, but I do have some food allergies. Thanks." Like, if a customer sends you a message like that, you better be communicating with them. Like, that's crazy to me that after sending a message like that, she has any issues at all. But it happens. That's how it is. So I want to grab a batch, and I definitely want to run through some ideas I have about providing good customer service. But before I do that, I'd like to thank Cover for sponsoring this video. So if you haven't heard of Cover before, they offer a variety of benefits to gig workers and rideshare drivers, and they start at $7 a month, these benefits do, and they include so many different things, which it's absolutely insane that they can even offer a membership at $7 a month. So some of the things they include, they do paid time off, they have sick leave, they offer 24/7 telehealth. It also includes a membership with Hurdler. Hurdler itself starts at $8 a month, and Hurdler's even included in their $7 a month membership. So you get Hurdler Premium, which includes a mileage and expense tracker, automatic mileage and expense tracker. They also offer legal help, which is wrapped into those benefits. So you would receive a complimentary legal consultation, and if you were ever wrongfully deactivated, their legal team will actually write a deactivation letter on your behalf to send to whichever gig or rideshare app that you're using to try to help you get your count back, which is pretty great. So I will actually leave my link down below for Cover. If you click on that link, it's going to take you to their site, and you're able to check them out for yourself so you can do your own research. And if you decide to sign up with Cover and use my link, you get your first month free. So there you have it. Thanks, Cover. So let's talk a bit about customer service and you providing the best possible customer service that you can, so you get that higher rating, and you can also potentially increase your tips and overall increase your earnings. So I'm sure I'm going to miss something in this video, and if you think of anything, any idea that you have about providing good customer service, make sure you leave it in the comment section below, because we would all appreciate that. First of all, I think you need to send that initial message right away. I send out the same message every single time, and then that message sort of sets the tone for the shop. So that's going to tell me whether or not they're going to be responsive. They might even just say thank you right away, or they might say nothing. Okay, so I accepted a batch and I just pulled up to the store. I went ahead and said that I started shopping. I'm just grabbing my insulated bags, which is another thing that I feel like is good customer service and also required by Instacart. But even like delivering with the food in the insulated bags, I feel like shows an extra level of care. The first item that you run across that you need to replace, hopefully there is a valid replacement for it and you don't have to refund the item, because I think in general most people are going to prefer that their item is replaced. I think sometimes people will say they would prefer a refund. In that case, even if they said it, I would still try to ask them if, you know, take a photo of the item that you think is a viable replacement and send that to them and ask them if they would like you to replace whatever they chose with this item instead. So now when it comes to replacing things, like, you do kind of need to pay attention to price. So was the initial item significantly lower than the item that you're trying to replace it with? And that can happen a lot right now, especially if you're in an area where shelves are still kind of bare. A lot of times the more expensive items are less. And in that case, like, you may not want to do that as a replacement for them, especially if it's not something that they are approving. Even if they don't communicate to me after I send that initial message, I still will try to reach out to them if I am replacing items. That way, they do have an opportunity to respond. Now, if they don't end up responding after a few messages, I might go ahead and make some decisions on my own, but I would never replace an item with anything that's too out there. Like, it would need to be either the same brand or like a very comparable item. Like, I would never, say if it was spaghetti noodles, I would never try to replace spaghetti noodles with macaroni noodles without talking to them first. So that's something to keep in mind. I definitely, if they aren't responding and that they've said that they would like you to refund items instead of replacing, I would go ahead and do that, unless it was just like basically the same exact item. So, but I'd say in most cases, you should probably just go ahead and refund it, because that's technically what they asked for. Okay, I decided to start with these rock stars because they are right in front of me, but they do not have this acai rock star. So I'm gonna ask her if she is okay with an additional punched, because the acai it looks like a 0 sugar one, so I'm assuming she would want an additional 0 sugar one. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and grab that, and hopefully she gets back to me. They only had a 10-pound bag of russet or a 5-pound of Idaho, or I could get individual russet. The individual russet for 5 pounds was gonna cost the same as a 10-pound bag of russet, so that's what I went with. And I feel like since she is not messaging me back, I am okay to make decisions like that, because honestly, it's $1.50 more than what she would have paid for a 5-pound bag, so I don't feel like that's a huge difference. Really, I just try to think of what I would do if I were at the store. Honestly, I would probably end up getting the Idaho potatoes instead, but I don't feel like it's the end of the world, and just in case she has weird potato preferences, that's what we're doing. Okay, so I think, as you can see, the ramen aisle is pretty wiped. What I would do is probably just refund this, since there's not a chicken replacement. So we're gonna take a photo. Alright, this is probably gonna be the last time that I try to reach out to her unless she responds. I'm just gonna say ramen is wiped out. Would you like beef or soy sauce flavor? Ramen is wiped out. Would you like beef or soy sauce flavor? I'm gonna guess she won't respond. All right, so they didn't have this exact orange juice, the one she wanted with the high pulp. They're out of it. I don't know if you can see, they're out of it. So what I'm gonna do instead is get the low pulp one, because that's the only option. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that as a replacement. And if she was responsive, I would probably ask her and give her an option, but the fact that she hasn't responded to me at all means that, yeah, that's up to me now. But I mean, as you can tell, like, it's not that different from what she asked for. It's even the same brand, same price. Obviously want to check your eggs. These look nice. We're going with these. So if someone's taken the time to write out any kind of instructions for you, make sure you follow those. I mean, I would think that goes without saying, but just the fact that I know, because my relative said she had a tomato allergy and received a pizza with tomato sauce when she ordered a white pizza, that makes me think not everyone is following instructions. So make sure you look for that, because if people are taking the time for that, they're going to be more particular, which isn't necessarily a problem, but it's also I would expect that to greatly affect your tip and your rating if you make a mistake like that. There's also something that I've heard of happening. My relative told me that this happened to them. I've seen people talking about it in my Instacart Facebook group, and that is shoppers that are force marking items that are not the correct item. So people are receiving their groceries and the item is nowhere on the receipt, and it says that they received all their items when they didn't, and in fact they have wrong items. And that's because people are force marking things probably to keep the bill total up so their tip isn't lowered. Because if you don't know, your tip, if it is a percentage based tip, then if your grocery bill ends up lower, then that tip is going to go down. But that's like almost fraudulent. Actually, I feel like it is fraudulent, because they're getting charged for that initial item. You might force mark cheap. I don't know. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, please don't do that. That's absolutely horrendous to me. I can't believe that that's happening. All right. And then when I am almost finished with a shop, I'd say like 3 to 5 items before I'm almost done, I send a message out that says, please look over your order for changes and replacements. Make sure everything looks okay. And then also let me know if you'd like to add anything else to your order. So that, I feel like, is going to potentially increase your tip, because they might not have realized that they could add to their order. And I feel like a lot of people would be happy about that. Even though I know she's not going to respond, I went ahead. I'm going to go ahead and send her this message. I have 5 items left. And yeah, that's what I would normally send to people. I might not send that if they're not responding, but it doesn't hurt. Like, maybe she will end up looking at the app at some point before we're all done. Also, as far as adding things to an order, if you're in an area where it's still hard to come across certain items, say like Lysol wipes or toilet paper or whatever, then offer those to your customer, because I mean, that's exceptional customer service. They might say no, but on the off chance, like, maybe they do want it and that's something they've been looking for, and you're really helping them out by offering that to them. Here's another thing. So I always bag the groceries myself. I never let someone else bag them for me, because I feel like the customer is going to assume that you did the bagging. And if it's a very sloppy job, that's going to reflect negatively on you. So in my personal opinion, I think you should just go ahead and bag your own groceries. Another thing that I see that happens a lot is that people may put that it's a no contact delivery, which is fine, but I still knock on the door unless it says not to. I feel like the app doesn't do a great job of notifying the customer when their order has actually arrived. So you want to avoid their groceries sitting out for as long as possible. And by doing that, literally I just go, I drop everything off at the porch. And when I have like maybe one more trip back to my car, I might knock on the door And then that also gives them the opportunity to potentially give you an extra tip in cash. And then, yeah, I mean, they need to know that their groceries are there. So I think 110% you need to be knocking on the door or ringing the doorbell. Let them know that their groceries are there. And then if for whatever reason they don't answer, that's fine. A lot of times I think people will just kind of like look out the door and like wave, and that's great. And then if they don't answer, then when you're leaving, you should probably send a text and say, all done, groceries are sitting on your front porch. Okay, thank you. Have a wonderful evening. I feel like you should also wear your mask while you're delivering. So this is just going to show your customers that you're taking that extra step. Even if you're not interacting with them, even if they've selected contactless delivery, they still might be watching you out the window. So just throw your mask on for an additional 5 minutes or less, however it takes you to unload the groceries, because I think it can make a huge difference. And keep in mind, I mean, I know people personally that are still fully isolating because they have health problems. So you really want to be as careful as you possibly can with your customers' groceries, because it literally can be a life or death situation. So why not do that? So I just finished delivering that order, and I did not receive any messages from the customer as I was doing that batch. So when I showed up to her house, it was selected as it was not selected as a no contact delivery. I was supposed to hand over the groceries to the customer. Luckily, she was there waiting. She was just an older lady that I feel like didn't have access to the app while I was shopping. So one thing I did was I let her know that I did try to send her messages throughout and that I didn't receive a response. I also let her know that the store wasn't stocked well, so I did have to refund and replace quite a few items. And I told her that I did my best and I tried not to make any crazy decisions. So I had to do a fair bit of replacements for you just because the store was out of so much. But I didn't do anything too crazy, hopefully. Like I had to get you a bigger bag of potatoes than what you wanted. I ended up refunding a few things too, but do you have the Instacart app on your phone? How do you order with Instacart? Yeah, I tried to send messages as I was shopping, but I didn't get through to anybody. Overall, I think that was a pretty good example of how you would refund and replace things if your customer is not responsive to you. Obviously, if someone is responsive to you, you want to probably ask them about everything that you are refunding or replacing. I skipped over a couple of things just because I wasn't getting that response. But at the same time, I gave the customer multiple opportunities to respond to my messages. So for the first few items that I was replacing, I sent a message and then ended up refunding the items that I didn't feel confident about the replacements for. So I really feel like that's a good way to go about it. You may have also seen when I delivered the groceries that I did take them up in the insulated bags. I just feel like that makes it look a little more professional. I mean, when I was shopping too, I was putting things into my insulated bags. I didn't have enough bags with me today, which for some reason I just walked out the door and forgot to bring all of my bags, which ideally I would have had enough bags to fill that entire order. But I had to make 2 trips to her house, and the second trip I took my bags back and I did fill the bags, and so both trips I made, I had insulated bags with me to kind of like, I don't know. It also helps you carry things. So insulated bags are great. Actually, I have a discount code below for 10% off the bags that I use if you would like. Sorry, I've been MIA. I've really missed you guys. I have been crazy busy with my photography business. I did some marketing last year that really just kicked off and basically took me to like full-time photography. So that's really exciting. I've definitely taken quite a step back from gig work in general, but I am not quitting gig work. I'm definitely not done. So I'm sure you'll see more of me, and I have some exciting plans for this channel. But yeah, as soon as the colder months come around, I'm sure I'll be doing some more gig work. Once again, make sure you check out Cover. They provide benefits for gig workers and rideshare drivers starting at $7 a month. First month free with my link down below. Cool, guys. See you soon.